All right.
Oh
No matter how
God.
big or small your business is, making your own
Original.
Spotify ad
Sin.
studio is as
Original.
easy as one, two
What?
things. One, let us know what you want
Senator.
your ad to
Senator?
say and pick an
Original
image.
senator?
I think it's supposed
Okay,
to be like
sure.
Just press
senator,
it at
but
no
sin.
extra cost. Two,
All right.
reach Spotify
Sitting at your
listeners based
glossy,
on their
polished
interests,
black desk, you
demographics,
idly
use
check your
cases,
email.
and more.
You've got two
Three,
weapon supplies
set your
stuck in a
budget,
bidding,
set your
or
rates,
yeah, two
and
weapon
get
suppliers
started.
stuck in a bidding war, but
Try
it's not going to budge for a day or two. Clicking
adstudio.spotify.com
through, you see
and
something
pay.
from HR about sensitivity training for the guards who operate your torture cells, and make a note to read it when you've got less of a headache. You play a few rounds of Minesweeper, wondering how hard it would be to hijack the U.S. Navy and get up a game in real life. You
Ah,
check your email again. Finally, you admit it to yourself. You're bored. You've got a massive scheme plan, your first caper with potential to get viral on the world stage, but it's not until tomorrow. You got a few things left to iron out, honestly. You're feeling pretty bored at the moment. Your email notification goes off, and you see that you have a new message from something called Evil Harmony.
no, eHarmony.
Normally, you respond to unsolicited spam by blasting a hailstorm of crippling viruses back at the originator. But again, you're very, very bored. So you click it. Turns out to be a dating site for supervillains. You try not to roll your eyes. You haven't met many other villains yet. What interactions you've had have been through dark space, trading DIY laser gun tips and sharing fun videos of people being fed to sharks. But if you were looking for a single word to describe all the villains you've talked to so far, stable wouldn't be very high on the list. The idea of dating another villain, it sends shudders down your spine. On the other hand, it's 5 p.m. on a Sunday and you've got absolutely nothing to do,
Well,
so.
let's see.
Welcome to Evil Harmony. Well, actually, you're reading this, so go
Okay.
for it.
Welcome to Evil Harmony, the Undernet's leading site for villains hoping to make a connection. Please be patient as we calibrate your webcam and update its firmware. Calibrating. Okay. For the duration of this introductory quiz, your camera has been upgraded with VK 2019 biometric scanning software. The software allows us to read your pulse, blood pressure, and minor fluctuations in the dilation of your pupil to give us a clear, honest picture of your emotional response. After all of our clients are, by definition, liars, criminals, and murderers. But that doesn't mean we like fibbers. Now let's get started. Who do you prefer to date? Also, it's insane that I'm an evil villain and I just let this site hijack my entire computer, basically.
Yeah, you're bored, man. You're bored at 5 p.m.
I go for women. It's my jam. Interesting. That's exactly what 65% responders say. Yeah. It really is like dating, huh? On using the fucking. All right. Way to be the same as everyone else. Now we're gonna ask a series of questions to expose the beating heart of your personality, to drag your black soul screaming into the light. Which of these movie quotes best fits you? Put the money in the bag and nobody gets hurt. The world is a mess and I just need to rule it. Fools, I'll destroy them all. It's true that you don't need a nuclear bomb aimed at New York to get respect, but I find it helps. I mean, that's a good one at the end, at the bottom. That's it.
That's. What is that from?
I have no idea. Although fools, I'll destroy them all. Yeah, let's go with that. No, well, I'm really contemplating this. This is very important to me.
I was about to say, this is the most you contemplated a decision so far.
Yeah, let's go with this. It could be comical. Okay, great choice. Great one. You did it. Enough boring psychological questions. Let's get into sex. Wow. Not even gonna ask me out to dinner first. What's your favorite?
Something whizzes past
Oh.
your ear. It strikes the screen at a high velocity, shattering it. Spinning around in your chair, you see a woman clad in a tight leather jumpsuit leap down from a ventilation shaft high in the far wall. She has some sort of glove-mounted gun pointed directly at your head. Her other hand holds up a shining copper badge. Jane Steelheart, Vanguard, Deputy Director. Are you Emperor Nefarious?
Is Jane the person that we knocked out at the bank in the future?
No, that was Jenny.
Oh, that
That
was
was
Jenny.
Jenny.
I was like, damn. She's in
No,
both
no,
places.
no.
She got demoted.
Basically, Black Widow has just broken in to your
Damn.
lair.
I trigger a silent alarm on my desk and casually reach for my laser pistol. I shout, "Guards, seize it!" I smile calmly. "Good afternoon, Deputy Director. What can I do for you?" That's a good one. I'm not afraid in the slightest.
You try to maintain your veneer of charm. It's possible that this is just some sort of routine, random inspection. You're sure the deputy director of the world's elite super crime task force just bursts through ventilation shafts and points a gun at normal, law-abiding citizens all the time. We know what you've been planning, Steelheart says. Well, damn. Steelheart gestures brusquely towards the high-backed chair that sits across from your desk. May I sit?
It's
You
brilliant.
shrug.
I like how she like. We know you've been planning. You just like I was on a dating site. Come on.
He drops into the chair with the resigned weariness that someone only gets by spending 19 hours a day stopping people like you from holding the world hostage with giant lasers. You notice that even with the chair set 3 inches lower than your own, a classic supervillain trick, her stern gray eyes are exactly on level with your own. She holds your gaze for a long, measured silence. This is nice, she says, looking away and gesturing at your inner sanctum. Much higher rent than most of the places I have to infiltrate these days. Nice ventilation shafts too, which is rare. Big and clean. You would not believe how hard it is to clean up the crap you get in some people's air duct off of leather. Not to mention, I was in this guy Reflecto's underground mine shaft base, which was just dripping with asbestos. Once he gets done serving his life sentence, all his life sentences, we're going to have a serious ocean complaint on his hands. She suddenly looks back at you, gauging your response.
Oh, I mean, compliments to my lair. She knows the way to my heart.
You swear you see a smile flicker for a moment across her lips. Some other time, perhaps. I hold the Vanguard record for fastest escape from a super criminal's lair, but I'm always looking to better my time. Steerheart pulls a flask from her utility belt and takes a quick slug. She shrugs off your quizzical look. Mint tea. I'd offer you some, but it's laced with about 1,000 different antidotes and supplements. She tucks the flask away and her face hardens. Look, we know you're planning something big for the mayor's rally this weekend. I'm here as a friendly representative of our government, with a simple, helpful piece of advice. Don't. She eyes you again, sizing you up. You seem like you understand how the game is played. Vanguard doesn't have the resources or the ability to catch every single wacko in a cape that decides to rob a bank or heist a museum. Like, say, the Merit City Museum of Modern Art, which just had its usual police presence pulled to help guard the mayor on Saturday. She stares at you, the implications clear in her unwavering stare. You remember that the museum is on the far side of the city from Sherman Park, where the rally is being held.
Interesting.
You're being bribed.
I am very much below my bribery.
I love how the bribery is, you could commit a big crime. Here's a slightly smaller crime that's still pretty nice. She rises gracefully from the chair and places a small piece of cardstock on your desk. I've given this speech about 12 times to 12 people just like you. Though she can't be more than a few years older than you, her eyes suddenly carry a great weariness within them. You're new at this. There are ways to turn all this energy, all this crazy ambitions towards something better. If you want money, there are ways to make it. You can even run around in a cape while you're doing it. But I've seen where this path ends, and it's always the same. Whether it's in a bank vault, a courthouse, or the heart of a volcano. With death. And maybe that's why you're in this. We haven't been able to build up a clear psych profile of you just yet, but I hope like hell you're not another mad dog that my people and I have to put down. If you ever need help pulling out of the spiral you're starting down, my comm channel is on the card. I'll see myself out. As Steelheart starts running to vault back into the air shaft, you yell at her.
I'm so tempted to be like, I need another monitor! The world can't be changed by bureaucrats and spandex. For your own safety, I wouldn't use those vents. Nah. I mean, there's always gotta be a way.
New monitor.
I need a new... Look, she broke it. Come on.
She did shatter it to pieces.
Jesus.
You swear you hear a snort of laughter as she propels her taut muscle body up into the vent work, feeding into your inner sanctum. Not like a hard laugh, but interesting nonetheless.
Hey, I got her to laugh. Hey.
Yeah. Is your first love interest the spy who's trying to stop the cop spy?
Hey, hero villain love story.
Spend a minute or two thinking about ways to buff up your security system so that interruptions like that can't happen again. Dogs? Dogs on the vent shafts, maybe with guns around their necks. You make a mental note to send this problem to R&D.
Dogs with guns in the vent shafts is a really good idea. Good job, me.
When you sweep your broken monitor off your desk with a nice dramatic gesture, you'll requisition a new one later. But honestly, you've been waiting for weeks to have an excuse to break out the big board. You press a button on your desk and a great... This, by the way, I think will be the most satisfying piece of being a supervillain.
Just pressing a button.
You press a button. Yeah, you press a button on your desk and a great whirring sound fills the inner sanctum. Panels open on the far walls, elegantly pulling apart to reveal a massive glossy screen. Once the panels are clear, a hum suffuses the room as the great display comes to life. The visual effect is marred only slightly by the fact that the dating site quiz is still open on your internet browser, asking you questions about your favorite sexual position.
Jesus. Thank God this was not up when she entered the room and it was just a big screen of, like, how I wanted to fuck someone.
You quickly close the window, relieved that none of your minions were here to see that. Instead, you open up the plans for this weekend's big scheme. As Steelheart somehow already knew, you're planning on making your mark on Merit City by targeting the city's corruption-prone, ethically challenged mayor, Jack Mason. Although Mayor Mason is bad at a lot of things, accounting, following the law, not wearing ice-searing suits, he's good at making friends through the art of creative fundraising. And that's why Senator Aaron McKenzie is throwing Mason a massive rally in Sherman Park to draw a little heat away from the mayor's latest scandal.
Of course. Anyways.
You're under no illusion about the advisability of targeting the senator. Mackenzie's on the Senate's metahuman committee, and has her fingers in a dozen other pies besides. Attacking her would bring, at a bare minimum, the National Guard and the entire police force down on your head, and probably Vanguard as well, which might explain why Steelheart tried to warn you off the job. Mason, on the other hand, is vulnerable, corrupt, buffoonish. With security focused on keeping the senator safe, you found gaps you can exploit to get close to the mayor. You've just got one more errand to do before the plan is perfect.
Alright, so either the phase converters on your Hoverjets need recalibrating as usual, or one last surprise drill for the troops, or I need to research a few more of the mayor's deepest fears. I mean, the phase boot converters. I gotta be prepared.
You're in like full tech villain, aren't you?
Yeah, let's do this. I don't need superpowers, I just need technology. Yeah.
While you tinker with the machines, you idly sketch out a few schematics that would increase the efficiency of your computing systems by 10%, freeing up more time for nefarious misdeeds. This really is an alternate timeline of your choice of robots self.
Sure is.
Plans finalized, you head to bed. Just because you're a stylish master criminal doesn't mean you don't need your beauty sleep.
8 hours a night, okay?
The next day dawns slowly as the sun struggles to burn through the morning fog. As you watch through the binoculars from a hill overlooking Sherman Park, volunteers and city staff put together a bandstand for the mayor's rally. A few police officers and security guards mill around, not looking especially alert. There's no sign of Vanguard or Steelheart. She was probably just bluffing. You tell yourself for the third or fourth time today. So is Vanguard a shield?
I am pretty sure. Well, it's like, kind of. Shield specifically doesn't work for the government, so I think it's like a little more American than Shield, but yeah.
Suddenly, there's a flurry of activity below as several black utility vehicles pull up to the edge of the bandstand. Lethal-looking men and women in dark suits pile out. None of them are armed, but it's some sort of practice tense unarmed that says, "I'm 3 seconds from killing you with my bare hands." In short, Senator McKenzie's security staff has arrived.
Ah.
It's that's intense. That's kind of intense. None of this is especially worrying. You know Mackenzie takes her own and her family's safety seriously, and your plans have taken her goons into account. Plus, the senator's position on the metahuman committee means it would be politically disastrous for her to employ anyone with superpowers in her retinue. And none of the senator's agents are being paid to keep the mayor safe, right? You check your watch, but in a cool, nonchalant way, so that none of your minions, dressed up as per your usual as regular rally goers, which they apparently thought meant red, white, and blue straw boaters and Hawaiian shirts for God knows what reason.
What the fuck? I don't manage what they wear?
By the way, what do you? Because I know this didn't ask. What do you like? What do you think your minions look like? Like, what? Who do you hire? Who's your goon? What's
Oh,
your
these
goon
are
squad
like
look
the
like?
same, like barely shaven, big, bulky, like muscle heads.
I
Not
imagine
ex-
a bunch of dudes that just look like Kingpin from Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, classic villains.
Can tell you're kind of starting to freak out. Cowing a handful of bank guards and a neurotic bank manager was one thing. This is your entrance into the big leagues. The crowd begins to fill up the people attending the rally. None of them are in a Hawaiian shirts, which only makes you more nervous. Fortunately, there's just enough time for you to calm yourself down by...
So I had to do some quick yoga stretches. I squeeze a stress ball shaped like a goon's head. That feels a bit. That's hilarious. That's really good. Reading a joke.
What about reading a
book.
joke book?
But like, oh man.
Yeah, I like the idea that you have your goons have their own branded stress
Yeah, I
ball.
have merchandise.
You have merchandise.
Look at you. Listen,
Sounds like kind of weird to carry a joke book with you. It's very weird.
That's exactly
It's
why
really
it
funny
makes
for
sense
this
to
one.
promote your business here. Yeah, your business.
It always comes in handy when one of your minions figures out another way to make you want to
Your
strangle
brand
them.
can reach as broad or
It's
as
now
narrow an
12:15.
audience
Park
as
is
you need.
thronged with
And
people.
connect with
At
them
12:30, the
in
senator is
ways
scheduled to take the
that
stage and voice her support, presumably through gritted teeth. For the
studio.spotify.com.
mayor, at 12:45, Mayor Mason will begin delivering one of the trademark sleazy, rambling diatribes, denying guilt, blaming the press, and generally besmirching everything that's left to besmirch of the mayoral office's respectability. Once Mason is done, anywhere from 1 o'clock to 1:30, depending on how many things he remembers to be angry about, Senator Mackenzie and her security entourage will leave in a motorcade to tour the city. The mayor will stay behind, glad handing and looking for easily impressed women. I've never heard the term glad handing before.
That's really weird.
And that's when you'll strike. A nearby clock tower strikes the half hour, and Aaron Mackenzie promptly steps out of the shadows and onto the stage. You're struck by her poise and wondering how galling it must be for a woman of her reputation to be shilling for a sleazeball like Jack Mason.
So wait, is this right before I rob the bank, or just after?
No, we're back to the present.
Okay.
This is after.
I was wondering because like she gave me the tip to rob a bank. I thought that was gonna lead into me robbing
Well,
the bank at the start.
She gave you the tip to rob the art gallery.
Oh, okay.
I feel like the choice to do that might come up later or something. Clearly, right now you did not listen. Would you have listened? Would you have taken the bribe immediately?
Maybe.
Maybe.
I don't know. I'd have to see what my options were, and also what my plan is specifically for this.
Mackenzie's speech is largely boilerplate, but she does drop one interesting tidbit near the end. Vanguard is moving their headquarters to Merritt City. That's concerning.
Hmm.
Mackenzie claims the move is set to counter the city's rising wave of psychopathic performance art. But you wonder. The organization is supposed to be pan-national, operating under the auspices of the Global Federation. But ever since Dr. Arachnus assassinated the U.S. president 3 years ago, their focus has become increasingly American. Having their headquarters this really is S.H.I.E.L.D. Having their headquarters in Paris, the seat of the GF, was supposed to keep things fair, but apparently it didn't go far enough for some of the superhawks on the Metahuman committee. Politics aside, it might be the time to start looking for another big city to operate out of. When Mason takes the stage, your brain instinctively tunes out the interest of self-protection. Checking your dark space cameras to make sure it's broadcasting you move around the park. You've got a little time to stretch your legs before it's go time.
Okay, so either I steal some candy from a nearby kid, classic. Practice my manifesto, bit lame. Buy the troops some less conspicuous "We tolerate Jack" shirts. Quietly pickpocket a few wallets. This is great. Like, guys, please, we're wearing this. But
Guys,
also just like the classic steal candy from a baby.
This classic steal candy from a baby. Can you feel the vibe of this story yet? Can you
Yeah.
feel it? Oh
Ooh,
man.
I honestly, I
The
still
We
find.
Tolerate Jack shirt is so funny.
Let's go with that. Let's go with that.
It's so. I don't know what's funnier, the redressing your minions or the We Tolerate Jack shirt.
Yeah.
Luckily, the depressed-looking vendor only charges you $10 for all the shirts you need. You make a mental note to have the Hawaiian shirts confiscated, ground up, and put on the menu at the barracks cafeteria.
And some guys were like, I spent all night making those.
Now I'm imagining the Heavy from TF2, just a bunch of him.
Yeah.
Mason is finally finishing up. Your ears aren't deceiving you. He ends his rant with a few pointed remarks at the Illuminati, which is impressive given that they're one of the few nefarious world-spanning evil organizations that you're pretty sure don't actually exist. Finally, the mayor rambles his way off the podium to annoyingly fervent applause. You watch Senator Mackenzie, waving, making her way away from the park towards a waiting black limousine. As she climbs in, you feel the tension build in your shoulder blades. The moment to strike is upon you. The idiot mayor will be ruined, and the people of Merit City will know that their lives continue only at the indulgence of Emperor Nefarious. And that's when, examining Mackenzie's limousine through binoculars, you notice the tiny pictures of a shell that someone has painted on her hubcap. You realize then that you're out of your league.
Oh my god, it's Nautilus.
He's here.
He's here!
And you hear the anchor. He's gonna hook you.
Yeah, he's gonna fucking hook me. He's got all the CC.
The moment the senator closes her doors, there's a gentle popping sound. The limo tires begin to inflate cartoonishly, quickly breaking free of their moorings. The heavy luxury vehicle slams onto the pavement, but only for a moment. The tires, still tethered to the car via some sort of wire, continue to fill and start to float off of the ground. Even as enraged security personnel hack at the wires, they pull taut, and the balloons begin to pull the limo into the air. The limo gently flips over and hangs upside down from the floating balloons, which have turned an opaque white. Words begin to appear on them, large enough for people to read, and a bizarre contraption floats in the sky. Vanguard is a pack of attack dogs. If Jack Mason is willing to run the kennel, he can take the bites. If the American people knew just how many times we've stopped Dr. Arachnus' genocides and how close it's been, they'd panic for weeks. The quotes aren't attributed, but it's not hard to imagine them in Mackenzie's voice. And the curling shells used in the sentence is as periods make it clear who the culprit behind this attack must be. Nautilus.
So does Nautilus stop Dr. Arachnus?
It seems like what Nautilus is doing here is showing Mackenzie's corruptness, I think.
Oh.
Vanguard is a pack of attack dogs. If Jack Mason is willing to run the kennel, he can take the bite. Yeah, she's condemning Vanguard in that one. If the American people knew just how many times we've stopped Dr. Arachnus' genocides and how close it's been, they'd panic for weeks. Don't know the point of exposing that one, but you know. Number 3 on the federal most wanted list, the impossible prankster, bane of corrupt politicians, self-serious intellectuals, and for some reason pastry chefs the world over.
Oh my god.
And he, or she, or it, is hijacking your crime.
The baguettes!
You know from your research that Vanguard will be here in minutes to rescue the senator, although the likelihood that Nautilus is anywhere within 500 miles of Merit City right now is remote. Still, this is going to compress your timetable to an uncomfortably tight margin. What do?
Alright, so this doesn't change anything. I attacked the mayor's plan. Nobody shows me up in my own town. I'm going to hijack Mackenzie's kidnapping. Maybe just focus on the crowd. It's getting too hot around here. I'm just going to hit the museum. Steelheart tipped me off too. So either I back off and go to the museum, or I just go, no one shows me up. Those are my options, because I'm not blindly going into this, but I'm not just going to focus on the crowds.
So obviously the safe thing is to go to the museum, but like the reason you're doing this is to get notoriety, because robbing places is kind of just but stealing the Mackenzie kidnapping, Vanguard's about to come, so you'll have to deal with Vanguard when they get here if you're going to take over the Mackenzie kidnapping.
Maybe I do go.
These are just I am one of your minions, just advising right now.
Yeah, I'm really thinking about it. I don't want to get on the bad side of Nautilus, because I want to be friends with Nautilus. And if I go for the crowds, maybe I can do something funny.
Not in for going for the mayor still?
I really gotta think about it. It's one of these two. It's one of these two. I'm not going to the museum, and I don't want to just attack the mayor blindly.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go bold. Let's go a little bold. We're
Little
gonna
bold.
hijack the
Maybe he'll
Mackenzie-
respect you for it.
We're gonna hijack Mackenzie kidnapping.
If Nautilus thinks they can just waltz into Merit City and screw up your plans, he, she, or it has another thing coming. You get on your radio and tell your team that the plans have changed. With every second ticking closer to the moment when Vanguard arrives in the park, you're going to have to move quickly if you want to interfere with Nautilus' kidnapping. How do you want to play this?
Oh, This is a great time to use a planning point, in my opinion. On
That's
camera,
probably true.
this is like a great time. I'll use one of these. I'll enhance what Nautilus is doing.
This is a clever scheme. It discredits Vanguard, Mackenzie, and Mason simultaneously. But you think you see a way to make it even better. It's difficult to parse Nautilus' motivations, which twist and wind upon themselves like a, well, Nautilus shell. But the goal of this plot seems to be to shame everyone involved in the rally. Still, you can't help but feel the Mayor Mason is getting off light. Sure, the quote on the balloon is damning, and he's probably smarting from losing all the attention that should have been his, but he can stand to suffer more. You and your men make a beeline for the podium where Mason still cowers, looking alternately relieved and pissed off to be left in the sidelines. Using a modified... he's just like, I'm not good enough to kidnap.
Come on, I'm here.
Using a modified version of your original plan, you storm into the stage, flanked by your minions, and grab Mason by the neck. Who are you? He managed to sputter. The Iron Scorpion? You glare at him coldly. You have no idea why people keep confusing you with the Iron Scorpion.
Come on.
The other villain is absolutely massive and speaks only in rhyme.
I'm Emperor Nefarious, Your Honor.
Punctuating each word with a sharp shake.
And we're going for a little ride.
As your minions watch, you activate your hover boots. They strain against the mayor's added bulk. You're going to have to do this fast because the extra weight will burn through your suit's power supply quickly. And your passenger, you and your passenger shoot off into the sky.
Good thing I calibrated.
Mason blubbers to himself as you near the floating limo. The hover boots dip for a moment, and you know you've got to be quick about this. Wrapping a small length of cord around Mason's leg, you quickly tether it to the car's back bumper. Mason screams as he drops. Once the wire reaches the end, it pulls taut, and the mayor is left to be dragged behind the floating car. Literally political baggage for Senator Mackenzie.
Clever.
You've attracted the attention of the senator's bodyguards as there's no time to savor your little addition to Nautilus' criminal tableau. What is that? Tableau. You speed back down in the crowd, landing safely near the podium where your minions still stand.
There you go.
There you go. There's a thunderclap and a terrible bright light in the sky. It's the Vanguard hover fortress. This is just S.H.I.E.L.D.
It's really S.H.I.E.L.D.
Deploying over Sherman Park to rescue Senator Mackenzie and restore order. Jetpack wearing shoulder. Well, this is more budget than S.H.I.E.L.D.
Well, no, this is now Sword.
This is now Sword. Jetpack wearing soldiers begin to pour out of hatches. Sword was lame. In the improbably floating thing. Most of them head for the senator's still airborne limo. But if you peel off towards where you and your minions stand, it's time to make your departure. You give the orders and your troops start to run for the overlooking hill where your escape vehicle awaits. Suddenly, an athletically trimmed female agent carrying some kind of powerful-looking stun rifle swoops down from above, cutting off your escape route. Her stun rifle fires, blasting a sizzling electrical discharge into the ground a few feet from where you stand. The energy arcs up to the left side of your body, frying some of your armor's tech. Your minions quickly drive the agent away, but it's going to take you a while to rebuild the damaged components. Also, your mouth tastes like you've just been sucking on pennies.
Oh.
It's time to get out of here, but first things first, you drop a card on the ground.
Hell yeah. The card.
The card. So is there anything that could have prevented you from losing half your armor?
If I just didn't show up to it, probably.
Oh, yeah, I guess if you left, you wouldn't have lost it. You begin climbing up the hill, flanked by your loyal soldiers. The ground shakes as something massive slams on the earth in front of you. A Vanguard Colossus. Someone must be really, really pissed off by Nautilus attacking the Senator, because normally it's nearly impossible to get approval to deploy advanced military robot systems on American soil. The massive, almost spherical device's staring eye turns red as it begins to scan the area around it. The area where you and your heavily armed guards are standing. You begin rapidly tapping commands into the small interface on your suit's gauntlet. You've never tried to hack into a military drone's firmware while it was actively targeting you, but hey, it was the first time for everything. Although it's worth remembering that everything includes being shot by a drone before you can finish hacking it. You execute the last command just as the tank drone's eye begins to flash, indicating it's preparing to deploy ordnance. As per your orders, the flashing intensifies as the Colossus begins to fire its entire arsenal of missiles and bullets. Since you're not suicidal, you just made sure that the weapons were all aimed into the sky. Most of them hit the hover fortress's force shields, vaporizing instantly and creating a lovely fireworks-like effect. Make sure to aim your dark space camera upward to record the show.
There you go. Honestly, this was a good use of my planning point.
I wonder if you got a lot of this because you're very tech-based and some of your statistics might lean this way or something.
Maybe.
You're almost to your waiting escape vehicle when two Vanguard operatives deactivate your cloaking devices and deactivate their cloaking devices and appear directly in front of you and your troops. They bark orders for you to get on your knees and surrender. You wonder why they're putting so much energy into targeting you. Maybe Vanguard training materials have a whole section on identifying threats based on whether they're wearing capes or not. You pull a flash bomb out of your pocket and, before they can react, throw it at their feet. You take advantage of the brief confusion to make a break for your waiting escape vehicle. Unfortunately, one of the agents recovers faster than the other. He fires his weapon, catching one of your soldiers in the back with a powerful disabling pulse. There's no time to rescue or dispatch the minions. Jefferson, you think his name was? Or Joopson? As you dive for cover, you make a mental note to call HR about hiring a replacement when you get back to base. Finally, you reach the cloaked personal carrier that you left at the top of the hill. Signaling to your driver, you switch the vehicle's holoprojectors to suburban station wagon and calmly merge into the mass of people attempting to flee the chaos in the park.
You know, driving a station wagon down the highway. Oh, there's a lot. Okay. Here you go. In fairness, I think I'm
Think you're what?
Oh no, this is all the... Okay, never mind. This is all the news reporters.
Oh, yeah, okay. That night, yeah, there's a lot less of you talking in this one. That night, you sit down in your private apartment, nestled deep within your base, and turn on the nightly news to see how your exploits are being reported. Hey there, Merit City, this is Biff Crenshaw, and this is Mindy Metrigus. We're Merit 6's own formerly married news team. We'll have all the weather and sports you can stand later in the hour, but first, our top story, the attack on Mayor Mason's rally today by supervillains.
Do you want me to read the woman?
No, I'm fine.
Alright.
I've gone this far, I'll keep going. That's right, Biff. Your hairpiece wearing homunculus. A peaceful political rally erupted into chaos and violence today, demanding intervention by Vanguard troops. The rally was transformed into a bizarre piece of performance art by the enigmatic criminal known only as Nautilus. Apparently, he thought visiting Senator McKenzie would enjoy a hot air balloon tour of the city. That's a facile analysis, Mindy, and you should be ashamed. Get bent, Biff. Yes, Senator Aaron McKenzie was propelled into the air with, if you can believe this, giant balloons, covered in what are apparently quotes from the prominent senator denigrating both Mayor Mason and Vanguard. This came after the announcement that the international organization will be establishing its new headquarters right here in Merritt. We're happy to report that both Senator Aaron McKenzie and Mayor Mason are alive and well. The mayor was recovered quickly by Vanguard, and McKenzie surfaced a few hours after her limousine vanished into the sky, bewildered but seemingly healthy. Wait. Oh my god. They just missed a quote and then messed me up. That was supposed to be Biff. Whatever. In fact, it appears that the criminal's bizarre stunt seems to have inadvertently saved Mackenzie's life. Several bombs were detonated only a few minutes after the senator's kidnapping on her proposed touring route, destroying several vehicles and claiming several lives. Although no one has claimed responsibility for the bombing, authorities have indicated to us that the materials used in the exploits marked this as a possible attack by Dr. Arachnus. A dark day for Merritt City, Mindy. It makes you want to just huddle under the covers with a loved one. No one loves you, Biff. No one will ever. And now, Chip Dibson with sports.
Chip Dibson.
You shut the TV off.
Okay, with all that, I've actually, in my mind, I'm thinking, now it actually lines up with that line where it says, you have no idea how many times we prevented Dr. Arachnus. Nautilus probably does stop him. He's just playing, like, you know how I can play the Robin Hood. He probably does that and, you know, vigilante style stops Dr.
Arachnus.
Yeah. I think that's why.
Yeah, Arachnus seems to be full murder.
Yeah. And Nautilus is probably stopping him, but also trying to Robin Hood it.
Yeah, because he did create Jurassic Park in a small town that one time.
Yeah.
Just for funsies. You log on to dark space only to be greeted with a black screen. It flashes red and your entire monitor is suddenly filled with rapidly rotating Nautilus shells. A smiley face appears, its mouth flickering between a frown and a smile. Finally, it settles into a smile. You're not sure what exactly that means, but it's clear that you've got Nautilus's attention. Given that he, she, or it is known for a prankster with a bizarre sense of what constitutes humor, you're honestly not sure whether it's a good thing or not. You close the message from Nautilus and browse through dark space. There's an almost superstitious fear on here of what Nautilus might do to people who interfere with its plans, and discussion is torn between whether you've done something amazingly brave or suicidally stupid by getting involved with Nautilus. Of course, why is it that bad? Again, it seems like Nautilus is very no-kill so far.
Maybe a little bit chaotic good.
Of course, your bravado isn't the only thing being discussed tonight. The reaction to Vanguard putting itself in American soil is clearly provoking some anxiety from the community. Mostly shown as a lot of idiotic boasting about how the government lackeys will be driven back across the sea like the dogs that they are. One villain, a guy you've never heard of called Oblivio, keeps breaking into discussion threads and insisting that the move is some sort of Minotaur plot to keep the attention off of their European activities. That could be true, honestly.
Yeah.
It's not a wholly unconvincing argument, but you're not sure the International Criminal Syndicate has the clout to pull off this kind of political maneuvering. It's been a long day. You shut off the computer and head to bed.
I think all I've learned from this is I really need to get a better firewall, because it's like the second time I've been hacked by some random villain.
The first one was by a dating website.
Yeah, I need to get like some kind of antivirus or firewall app.
Yeah, you just have like the standard Microsoft Protect right now or something.
Yeah.
You just have...
Also, stats. Look at that.
Let's see them. It's about the same.
Yeah.
I think your
I'm
selfishness
slightly higher in theatricality.
I think your selfishness went down, actually. I think it was slightly higher before.
Maybe.
Maybe. You still have 2 planning points, by the way.
Yeah, I'll use them.